Siege of Syracuse, the genius who stalled Rome. In 214 BC, during the height of the Second Punic War, the city of Syracuse in Sicily became the stage for one of the most astonishing military defenses in ancient history. Not because of armies or legions, but because of a single man, Archimedes. While Rome tightened its grip over the Mediterranean, a genius of mathematics and mechanics held back their might for years. This was no ordinary siege, it was a war of brains versus brawn. A clash between one of the greatest minds in history and the most powerful empire of the ancient world. This is the Siege of Syracuse, Rome's most frustrating campaign. 1. The background. To understand the Siege of Syracuse, we must rewind to the complex geopolitical landscape of the 3rd century BC. The Mediterranean was in turmoil. Rome and Carthage were locked in a death struggle known as the Second Punic War, triggered in 218 BC when Hannibal crossed the Alps and invaded Italy. Meanwhile, the island of Sicily had become a crucial battleground. Once a Carthaginian stronghold, Sicily fell under Roman influence after the First Punic War. But it wasn't a peaceful province. Syracuse, a wealthy and culturally significant Greek city-state in southeastern Sicily, maintained a delicate balance of power. It had survived wars, alliances, and political upheaval for centuries. Its king, Hiero II, ruled as a loyal ally to Rome, keeping the peace and ensuring the city's prosperity. But when Hiero died in 215 BC, everything changed. His grandson, Hieronymus, just 15 years old, ascended the throne. Influenced by pro-Carthaginian advisors and emboldened by Hannibal's recent victories in Italy, the young king turned against Rome. It was a gamble. Rome responded immediately. Declaring Syracuse a threat, they dispatched a seasoned general, Marcus Claudius Marcellus, with orders to bring the city to heel. What followed was a siege that tested not just armies, but ideas. 2. The siege begins. In 214 BC, Roman forces landed near Syracuse. The city was divided into two parts, the mainland district of Acradina and the island of Ortygia, connected by a narrow causeway. Both were fortified with thick walls, strong gates, and natural cliffs on many sides. But the real surprise wasn't the city's stone defenses, it was the man defending them. Archimedes. The renowned mathematician, physicist, and inventor had lived in Syracuse his entire life. Though not a soldier, he was entrusted with the city's technical defense. His designs would turn the tide of the siege, again and again. 3. Archimedes' war machines. This is where the Siege of Syracuse becomes legendary. Marcellus attempted a simultaneous assault, by land and sea. Roman troops battered the gates, while a fleet approached the sea walls. But Archimedes had prepared. Using counterweights, pulleys, levers, and precise angles, he deployed catapults capable of firing stones over vast distances. Smaller machines hurled darts and arrows at terrifying velocity. But most remarkable were his claws, cranes with grappling hooks that could lift enemy ships out of the water, smashing them on the rocks below. The Romans were stunned. They called them iron hands. Another legendary invention, though debated by historians, was the so-called death ray. Roman reports claimed Archimedes used mirrors to focus sunlight and set ships ablaze. While modern scholars largely doubt the practicality of such a weapon, the story underscores the mythic status Archimedes attained. Whether or not these rays existed, what's certain is this: Archimedes delayed Rome's victory by nearly 2 years. 4. Roman adaptation and strategy. Marcellus quickly realized brute force would not win this battle. The Romans adjusted. They fortified a blockade, cutting off supplies by land and sea. Slowly, they strangled Syracuse into submission. But the city's dual geography made complete encirclement difficult. Supplies continued to trickle in from other parts of Sicily and Carthaginian allies. Inside the city, the political climate was shifting. Hieronymus had been assassinated, Yet factions remained split between Carthaginian and Roman sympathizers. Internal unrest added to the chaos. As months passed, the siege turned into a psychological game of attrition. Eventually, in 212 BC, the Romans exploited a religious festival. With the defenders distracted by a night of celebration, Roman troops scaled the walls of the mainland district of Epipoli. The breach was successful. One part of the city fell. But Ortygia held on. It would take more subterfuge, and more betrayal, before the final fall. 5. The fall of Syracuse and Archimedes' death. As the Roman army tightened its grip, betrayal came from within. A pro-Roman faction in Ortygia opened the gates. Marcellus entered the city in triumph. But not all went according to plan. The general had given strict orders: Archimedes was to be captured alive. But in the confusion, a Roman soldier found the old mathematician engrossed in a geometric diagram drawn in sand. According to later sources, when ordered to come with the soldier, Archimedes reportedly replied, "Do not disturb my circles." The soldier killed him on the spot. Rome had won, but the cost was the death of one of humanity's greatest minds. 6. Aftermath and historical impact. The fall of Syracuse was a turning point in the Second Punic War. Sicily was now firmly in Roman hands. It became Rome's first province outside the Italian peninsula, launching a new phase of expansion. But for many Romans, the cost was bittersweet. Marcellus mourned Archimedes deeply. He ordered that the scientist be buried with honors. Legend says his tomb bore a carving of a sphere inscribed within a cylinder, representing his favorite geometric theorem. The siege also marked the end of the Hellenistic city-state as an independent force. Syracuse, once a beacon of Greek culture and intellect, was reduced to just another outpost in Rome's growing empire. 7. Legacy of Archimedes. While the siege destroyed a city, it immortalized a man. Archimedes' contributions went far beyond the battlefield. He laid the foundations for calculus, discovered principles of buoyancy, and designed machines centuries ahead of their time. Even in death, his genius inspired scientists from Leonardo da Vinci to Isaac Newton. The Siege of Syracuse reminds us that warfare isn't always a contest of numbers, but of intellect. That the mind can be a weapon more formidable than the sword. In a world obsessed with conquest, Archimedes proved that the pursuit of knowledge could shake empires. The Siege of Syracuse wasn't just another Roman victory, it was a clash between military might and mathematical brilliance. It showed us that science could defend cities, that ideas could delay empires, and that even in defeat, legacy can endure. What can we learn from this forgotten siege? That in the tides of history, it's often the thinkers, not just the fighters, who shape the future. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of Rome's most unusual campaigns, hit the like button, subscribe for more history breakdowns, and leave a comment below. Did Archimedes really build a death ray, or is it just legend? And if you're wondering what happened to the rest of the island after the siege, our next episode covers just that. How did Portugal become a country? You won't want to miss it.